Many talented people remain stuck because they have confused being liked with being respected. So they avoid difficult conversations. They over-explain themselves. They struggle to say no. They tolerate behavior that quietly destroys their confidence. And over time, they become emotionally exhausted, trying to maintain approval from everyone around them. The problem is, people pleasing may make you temporarily acceptable, but it rarely makes you powerful. And leadership requires a willingness to disappoint people strategically. That's what many approval-seeking individuals never learn. And whether you are a leader, whether you're an aspiring leader, whether you are part of a team, one of the things we should watch against, you should watch against, is the behavior of trying to be a people pleaser or of being a people pleaser. Most people pleasers are not weak people. That's not what I'm saying. They are highly adaptive people. And at some point in life, they have learned conflict creates danger. Rejection creates pain. Disappointing people threatens connection. So they become skilled reading rooms and managing emotions, keeping peace, avoiding tension. And while those traits may help someone survive emotionally, they often become destructive in leadership environments because leadership requires clarity, and clarity sometimes creates discomfort. Approval seeking weakens authority. One of the hidden costs of people pleasing is that it slowly erodes authority. Not because people dislike kind individuals, but because approval-seeking behavior often communicate uncertainty. For example, people pleasers apologize excessively, over-explain decisions, soften every statement, avoid direct communication, struggle to enforce boundaries, and eventually people begin sensing this person wants acceptance more than they want leadership. That changes how you are perceived. Strong leaders are respectful, but they are also clear. And clarity sometimes disappoints people. Over-explaining is often anxiety in disguise. This is one of the biggest signals of approval seeking. Over-explaining. When someone constantly over-explains their choices, their boundaries, their decisions, their absence, their opinions, it often reveals discomfort with being misunderstood. But leadership requires emotional tolerance. But not everyone will agree with you. Not everyone will approve of your decisions. Know that. And that's why you're a leader. You have to make certain difficult decisions. You shouldn't agree with the masses. You are the only one sometimes that has to make a decision that is contrary to everyone. Because you're a leader, you have to see beyond the level of the masses. You have to see the bigger picture, the bigger horizon. And sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, this is the direction we are taking. Even though you don't like it, it is the only option that will save everyone. And emotionally mature leaders understand something important. You do not need anonymous approval to move forward confidently. Fear of rejection keeps talented people invisible. I have been speaking on the subject of talented people not being invisible in workplaces. There are some of my videos you can go back on my channel on YouTube and view more. You can drop me a message, DM me if you want help with the links, and I can help you. So many highly capable people remain invisible because they fear negative attention. So they stay quiet in meetings. You can probably pick a few of those. They avoid visibility. They suppress ideas. And sometimes these are brilliant ideas. They hesitate to lead. They wait for permission. And this is a big one. Don't ever wait for anyone to give you permission. Permission to be yourself, permission to communicate your ideas, communication to make your contribution known. Why do you have to wait for people to give you permission? Why? Because visibility increases the possibility of criticism. And approval-seeking personalities often interpret criticism as emotional danger. So they shrink. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they fear disapproval. Could this be you? This is why some incredibly talented individuals remain professionally overlooked for years. And in this, I just hope you pick some of the qualities that or points that might help you advance yourself forward. Leaders disappoint strategically. I mentioned this earlier on in my preamble. This may sound uncomfortable, but strong leaders disappoint regularly, not carelessly, not arrogantly, but strategically. They make difficult decisions, enforce standards, say no, create accountability, prioritize long-term vision over short-term approval. Weak leadership constantly asks, how do I keep everyone happy? No. Strong leadership asks, what serves the mission best? Those are very different psychological frameworks. And I hope you can find yourself and where you belong there. The emotional exhaustion of performing niceness. Here is a point I want to make. People pleasing is exhausting. I say this because it requires constant emotional monitoring. You are constantly scanning. Are they upset? Did I say something wrong? Do they still like me? Am I disappointing someone? That level of emotional hypervigilance drains confidence. And eventually, many people lose connection with their authentic voice entirely because they have spent years shaping themselves around other people's comfort. Did you hear that? People spend years shaping themselves around other people's comfort. Now, let's talk about the next point, how emotionally healthy leaders behave. And you could be just a normal person. You could be just part of a group of people working. You are not in leadership. You are just a colleague. But this could be a trait that you portray. So how do you manage this emotional behaviors? Emotionally healthy leaders understand, or people, emotionally healthy workers, let's put it that way, understand being respectful does not require self-erasure. You can be kind and still direct. compassionate and still firm, emotionally intelligent and still decisive. Healthy leadership is not, and I repeat, is not aggression. But it's also not chronic self-abandonment disguised as kindness. There is a difference. And I hope you have learned a lot from this video, from this presentation, and I hope you can take yourself forward and advance yourself. There is more that you can learn and that you can connect with me to help you with some of this.